The ships came on a spring morning in the year 2147. They appeared without warning over the city of Bizan. The vessels were silver and smooth, shaped like teardrops, and they made no sound at all. They simply floated there in the sky, blocking out the sun. People on the streets stopped walking. Cars stopped moving. Everyone looked up. Some screamed. Some ran. But most just stood there, frozen, watching the impossible sight above their heads. Within hours, every television and computer screen on Earth showed the same image. The ships had appeared over 12 major cities around the world. New York, London, Tokyo, Cairo, Sydney, and Bizan. The world held its breath and waited. 3 days passed before they made contact. Captain Park. Jun-ho was eating breakfast in his small apartment when his phone rang. He was 42 years old, a soldier for 20 years, and the commander of the Korean branch of the United Earth Defense Force. He had seen many strange things in his life, but nothing had prepared him for the words he heard on that call. "They want to talk," his superior said, "and they asked for you by name." Jun-ho put down his coffee cup. His hand was shaking. "How do they know my name?" "We don't know. But you need to get to Bizan, now." 2 hours later, Jun-ho stood on a wide concrete platform that had been built overnight. Military vehicles surrounded the area. Soldiers stood in neat rows, their weapons ready. Helicopters circled overhead. The whole world was watching through cameras placed everywhere. Beside Jun-ho stood two others. The first was Dr. Kim Yuna, a woman in her 30s with short black hair and calm eyes. She was a xenolinguist, an expert in languages. For the past decade, she had worked on the problem of how to communicate with beings from other worlds. Now, her life's work would finally be tested. The second was Lieutenant Lee Taiho, a young soldier with broad shoulders and a serious face. He carried a rifle, though everyone knew it would be useless against beings who could cross galaxies. "Are you afraid?" Yuna asked Jun-ho quietly. "Yes," he admitted. "But I am also curious." "Are you?" She smiled, but her hands were trembling. Terrified. And excited. This is the moment our species has been waiting for. A low hum filled the air. Everyone fell silent. One of the silver ships began to descend slowly. It landed without a sound, settling onto the concrete platform like a leaf falling onto water. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then a section of the ship's hull simply disappeared, revealing a doorway of soft blue light. A figure emerged. The being was tall and thin, almost 2 meters in height. Its skin was pale and shimmered like the surface of a pearl. It had 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern on its face, and instead of hands, it had long tendrils that moved like seaweed in water. It wore a simple white robe that flowed around its body. The being stopped a few meters from the humans and stood very still. Its 4 eyes moved from face to face, studying each person carefully. There was no aggression in its posture. No threat. If anything, it seemed gentle, almost fragile. "I am Torin," the being said. Its voice was soft and musical, like wind chimes. "I speak for the Valari people. We come in peace and friendship." Jun-ho stepped forward and bowed slightly. "I am Park Jun-ho. I speak for the people of Earth. We welcome you." Torin's eyes blinked in a slow sequence. "We have traveled very far to meet you. We have watched your world for many years. Your species is very interesting to us." "Why?" Jun-ho asked. "What makes us interesting?" Torin's tendrils moved in a gesture that might have been a smile. "You create such beautiful things. Your music, your art, your stories, your buildings that reach toward the sky. We have never seen a species with such creativity, such passion." Yuna stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overcoming her fear. "How long have you been watching us?" 200 of your years," Torin said. We first detected your radio signals and followed them here. We have been learning your languages, studying your cultures. You are a young species, but a remarkable one. And why did you decide to make contact now? Junho asked. Torin paused. Its skin color shifted slightly, becoming more blue. Yuna would later learn this indicated uncertainty or confusion. We have questions, Torin said. Things we do not understand about your kind. We have observed much, but some aspects of your civilization remain a mystery to us. Junho exchanged glances with Yuna. What kind of questions? Instead of answering directly, Torin raised one of its tendrils. A small device appeared in the air, projecting a hologram between them. Images floated in the space between human and alien. The first images were beautiful. The Eiffel Tower, the Great Wall of China, a symphony orchestra performing in Vienna, children playing in a park, a farmer harvesting rice, a doctor healing a patient. These were the things the Valari admired about humanity. Then the images changed. Tanks rolled across muddy battlefields. Fighter jets screamed through the sky. Missiles launched from submarines. Soldiers marched in formation, carrying rifles. A mushroom cloud rose over a destroyed city. These objects, Torin said. These machines. We do not understand them. They serve no purpose we can identify. They do not grow food. They do not heal the sick. They do not create beauty. What are they? The question hung in the air like smoke. Junho felt his heart grow heavy. Beside him, Taiho's grip tightened on his rifle. Yuna looked at the images floating before them. Weapons. Instruments of death. How could she explain thousands of years of war to a being who had never known violence? Those, she said carefully, are weapons. Torin's four eyes focused on her with intense curiosity. Weapons? What is the purpose of a weapon? And in that moment, the three humans realized something terrible. The Valari, with all their technology and wisdom, had no concept of violence. No understanding of war. No knowledge of death by another's hand. They had come to Earth seeking beauty and found monsters instead. In the weeks that followed first contact, the world changed forever. The Valari ships remained hovering above the 12 cities, but their passengers came down to walk among humans. They were gentle creatures, curious about everything. They tasted human food and marveled at its variety. They listened to human music and wept at its beauty. They watched human children play and laughed with pure joy. But the question remained unanswered. What are weapons? The United Earth Council decided to assign special guides to help the Valari understand human culture. One of these guides was Han Minji, a woman of 35 who worked as a military historian in Seoul. She had spent her entire career studying wars, battles, and the tools humans used to kill each other. Now, she would have to explain all of it to beings who had never hurt another living thing. Her Valari companion was named Pela. Pela was younger than Torin, with skin that shimmered in shades of green and gold. Like all Valari, Pela had 4 eyes and tendril-like hands. But unlike Torin, who was formal and careful, Pela was energetic and asked questions constantly. On their first day together, they walked through the streets of Seoul. Pela looked at everything with wonder. The tall buildings, the busy streets, the people rushing to work. Your cities are so crowded, Pela observed. Do you not have enough space on your world? Minji smiled. We have plenty of space, but humans like to live close together. We are social creatures. As are the Valari, Pela said. We live in great communities beneath the oceans of our world. The water connects us all. They stopped at a small cafe and sat by the window. Pela tried coffee for the first time and made a face that Minji would never forget. This liquid is very bitter. Why do you drink it? It helps us stay awake, Minji said. Humans need something to push away tiredness. Why not simply rest when you are tired? It was a simple question, but it struck Minji deeply. Why did humans push themselves so hard? Why did they deny their bodies rest? She did not have a good answer. Days turned into weeks. Minji took Pela to museums, theaters, and parks. They watched movies together and read books. Pela was amazed by human imagination. The stories humans told were full of adventure, love, danger, and triumph. But Pela noticed something troubling. Many of your stories involve conflict, Pela said one evening. Characters fighting against each other. Hurting each other. Why? They were sitting in Minji's apartment, surrounded by books on military history. The walls were covered with maps showing famous battles. Models of ancient warships sat on shelves. To Minji, these were objects of study. To Pela, they were mysteries. Conflict is part of human nature, Minji said carefully. We have always competed with each other. For food, for land, for power. But why compete when you could share? Minji was quiet for a moment. Not everyone wants to share. Some people want to take. And when someone tries to take what is yours, you must stop them. Pela's skin flickered with colors of confusion. Stop them? How? Minji pointed to a model of an ancient Korean warship on her shelf. With force. With violence. With weapons. There was that word again. Weapons. Pela had heard it many times now, but still did not truly understand. Please, Pela said, leaning forward. Explain to me what a weapon is. I must understand. Minji took a deep breath. She pulled her tablet from her bag and opened a series of images. The first showed a simple stone, held in a human hand. This was our first weapon, she said. Millions of years ago, our ancestors used rocks to hunt animals for food. It was survival. The next image showed a spear with a sharp stone tip. We learned to make our tools sharper and longer. Better for hunting. Better for killing. Then came a bronze sword, a steel bow, a gun, a cannon, a tank, a bomber aircraft, a nuclear missile dot with each image. Pela grew more still. The colors on the alien's skin faded until they were almost white. These are all weapons, Minji said. Tools designed to hurt or kill. Humans have made them throughout our history. We have used them to hunt animals, to protect our families, and to fight wars against each other. Wars, Pela repeated. The word sounded strange in the alien's musical voice. What is a war? A war is when groups of humans fight each other using weapons. Sometimes thousands fight. Sometimes millions. Wars can last for days or years. Many people die. Pela was trembling now. You kill each other? Your own species? Yes, but why? Minji set down the tablet. Her hands were shaking. For many reasons. For land, for resources. For beliefs, for power, sometimes for revenge, sometimes for no reason at all. How many have died in these wars? Minji closed her eyes. She knew the numbers by heart. In recorded history, humans have killed approximately 1 billion of their own kind through warfare. Pela made a sound that might have been a scream or a cry. The alien's body folded in on itself, tendrils wrapping around its torso. 1 billion, Pela whispered. 1 billion lives taken. By your own hands. Minji felt tears building in her eyes. She had studied this history her whole life. She knew the battles, the generals, the strategies. But seeing her species through Pela's innocent eyes made her feel something she had never felt before. Shame. We are not proud of it, she said quietly. Most humans hate war. We dream of peace. Then why do you keep building weapons? Pela asked. Why do you not destroy them all? It was a question Minji had asked herself many times. And still, she had no answer. Because, she said finally, we are afraid. afraid of each other, afraid of what might happen if we have no way to protect ourselves. Pela looked at her with 4 sad eyes. You are afraid of your own kind. How terrible. How lonely. They sat in silence for a long time. Outside, the sun set over Seoul, painting the sky in shades of red and gold. Somewhere above them, the Valari ships floated peacefully, belonging to a species that had never known fear of their own kind. Minji wondered what it would be like to live without that fear. And she knew, in her heart, that she would never find out. The request came from the Valari High Council 3 months after first contact. Ambassador Torin delivered it personally to the United Earth Council in Geneva. My people wish to understand, Torin said. Words are not enough. We need to see. We need to experience what these weapons truly are. The human leaders exchanged worried looks. They had feared this moment. Explaining violence with words was hard enough. Showing it would be much worse, but they agreed. The Valari needed to understand. If there was any hope of true friendship between their species, there could be no secrets. Commander Baek Sunwoo was chosen to lead the demonstration. He was 53 years old, a soldier for 30 years, and the most respected military officer in the Korean forces. He had fought in 3 conflicts and lost many friends to war. He knew better than most what weapons could do. The demonstration was set for a remote military base in the Gobi Desert. Far from any city. Far from any innocent eyes. Only the Valari delegates and selected human officials would attend. On the morning of the demonstration, 47 Valari arrived in a single transport ship. Among them was Ambassador Torin, the scholar Pela, and members of their High Council. They were guided to an observation platform that overlooked a wide, empty plain of sand and rock. Commander Sunwoo stood before them in his military uniform. Beside him was Dr. Chonari, a young woman who worked as a data analyst for the UEDF. Her job was to provide facts and numbers when needed. Thank you for coming, Sunwoo said. His voice was calm, but inside he felt sick. What you are about to see is not easy to watch. If any of you wish to leave at any time, you may do so. None of the Valari moved. Their 4 eyes were fixed on the empty plain below. We will begin with small arms, Sunwoo said. These are weapons carried by individual soldiers. He raised his hand. On the plain below, a row of soldiers appeared. Each one carried a rifle. Before them stood wooden targets shaped like human bodies. These are rifles, Sunwoo explained. They shoot small metal pieces called bullets. The bullets travel very fast. Fast enough to pass through flesh and bone. He dropped his hand. The soldiers fired. The sound was deafening, even from the observation platform. The wooden targets exploded into splinters. In seconds, nothing remained but scattered pieces of wood. Several Valari flinched at the noise. Pela's skin had turned completely white. Each rifle can fire many bullets in 1 second, Dr. Nari said quietly. A single soldier can kill dozens of enemies in minutes. Sunwoo continued. Next, we show you explosives. On the plain, the soldiers retreated. In their place, a concrete building had been constructed. It was simple, just 4 walls and a roof, big enough for several people to stand inside. This represents a shelter, Sunwoo said, a place where people might hide. A soldier carrying a tube-like weapon stepped forward. He aimed at the building and fired. A rocket streaked across the plain. It hit the building with a thunderous explosion. Fire and smoke filled the air. When it cleared, the building was gone. Only a crater remained. 1 rocket, Dr. Nari said. 1 soldier. 1 second. Everything destroyed. Some of the Valari were trembling now. One had closed all 4 of its eyes, unable to watch. But Sunwoo was not finished. What you have seen are modern weapons, he said. But these are not the most powerful things humans have created. To show you the truth of human warfare, we must show you our history. A large screen lowered behind him. Images began to appear. Ancient battles. Knights on horseback charging with swords. Arrows darkening the sky. Bodies piled on muddy fields. The Valari watched in horror. World War I. Trenches filled with soldiers. Poison gas rolling across the battlefield. Men screaming as they died slow, painful deaths. Pala made a choking sound. World War II. Cities burning. Bombs falling from the sky. And then, the final image. A mushroom cloud rising over Hiroshima. A single bomb that killed 80,000 people in one moment. Ambassador Torrens stood up slowly. The alien's skin was cycling through colors so fast it looked almost black. "You use this weapon," Torrens said. "On a city. On people. On children." "Yes," Sunwoo said. His voice cracked. "We did. How many died?" Dr. Nari answered. "In Hiroshima, approximately 80,000 died instantly. Many more died later from radiation sickness. In total, about 200,000 from one bomb." "Yes, and we built many more bombs after that. Bigger bombs. We now have weapons that could destroy entire continents." The screen went dark. Silence filled the observation platform. Torrens turned to face Sunwoo. The alien's eyes held an emotion no human had ever seen in a Valari before. Fear. Pure, absolute fear. "You are not what we thought you were," Torrens said. "We came here expecting to find artists and dreamers, builders and healers. Instead, we find this." The ambassador's voice rose. "You have created tools of extinction. You have used them on your own kind. Millions have died. And you still make more. More weapons. More death." Torrens stepped back, away from the humans. "You are not builders. You are destroyers. You are predators wearing the masks of civilization." Sunwoo said nothing. There was nothing he could say. Pela was weeping, thick tears rolling down shimmering skin. Other Valari huddled together, holding each other for comfort, and in that moment, on that dusty observation platform in the middle of the desert, the humans realized that they had broken something. The Valari had come with wonder and hope. Now they would leave with terror and disgust. The demonstration was over. But the damage had just begun. The news spread through the Valari fleet like fire. Within hours, every alien above Earth knew the truth about humanity. The gentle beings they had admired from afar were killers. The beautiful civilization they had traveled so far to meet was built on bones and blood. Panic swept through their ships. Some demanded immediate departure. Others wanted to contact the Galactic Concord, a group of peaceful alien species spread across the galaxy. They wanted Earth declared dangerous, quarantined, isolated from all other civilizations forever. On Earth, humans watched the Valari ships with growing fear. For 3 days after the demonstration, no alien would speak to any human. The ships remained in place, hovering silently above the cities. But their lights had dimmed. Their beauty had turned cold. Hana was 28 years old and the youngest diplomat in the Korean Foreign Ministry. She had grown up dreaming of the stars, hoping that one day humans would find friends among them. Now, she watched that dream dying. She could not accept it. On the 4th day, Hana made a request through official channels. She wanted to speak with Ambassador Torrens one more time. The request was denied. She made it again. Denied again. She made it a 3rd time. Finally, Torrens agreed. They met in a small park in the center of Seoul. It was evening, and the sky was painted with soft colors. Cherry blossom trees surrounded them, their pink petals falling gently to the ground. It was one of the most peaceful places on Earth, but peace felt very far away. Torrens stood motionless, watching Hannah approach. The alien's skin was pale, almost gray. All four eyes looked tired and sad. "You're brave to come here alone," Torrin said. "Some of my people believe humans cannot be trusted. They think you might try to harm me." Hannah stopped a few meters away. "I am not armed. I carry no weapons. I only want to talk. Torrin made a sound that might have been bitter laughter. "Your kind is good at talking, but your actions speak louder. We have seen what you truly are." Hannah nodded slowly. "Yes, you saw the worst of us. The darkest parts of our history. Commander Sunwoo showed you the truth, and it was terrible. I will not deny that. Then what is there to discuss?" "The other truth," Hannah said. "The one you have not seen yet." Torrin's eyes narrowed. What other truth could possibly matter? Hannah reached into her bag and pulled out a small device. She showed it to Torrin. "This is a recording. Please, watch it. And then decide what you think of us." Torrin hesitated. Then, slowly, the alien extended a tendril and took the device. An image flickered to life. The recording showed a hospital. Rows of beds filled with sick children. Doctors and nurses moving between them, caring for each patient with gentle hands. "This is a children's hospital in Busan," Hannah said. "These doctors work 16 hours a day to save lives. They earn little money. They have no fame. But they do it anyway because they believe every child deserves a chance to live." The image changed. Now it showed firefighters rushing into a burning building. Smoke billowed around them. Inside, they found an elderly woman trapped on the top floor. They carried her to safety while the building collapsed behind them. "These firefighters risk their lives every day," Hannah continued. "They run into danger when everyone else runs away. Not for glory, not for reward, simply because someone needs help." Another image. Teachers in a poor village, educating children who had nothing. Scientists working to cure diseases. Volunteers feeding the homeless. Artists creating beauty. Musicians bringing joy. "This is also humanity," Hannah said. "This is who we are when we choose to be good." Torrin watched in silence. The alien's skin began to change color again, shifting from gray to soft blue. The final images were harder to watch. War memorials. Names carved in stone. Eternal flames burning for the dead. Families laying flowers at graves. Old soldiers weeping for fallen friends. "These are our memorials," Hannah said quietly. "We build them to remember those who died in our wars. We do not celebrate death, Ambassador. We mourn it. Every weapon we create leaves a scar on our soul. Every war is a failure. We know this." She stepped closer to Torrin. Her voice trembled with emotion. "You asked us what weapons are. Let me give you the full answer. Yes, weapons are tools of death. But they are also something else. They are shields, promises, oaths." Torrin tilted their head. "I do not understand." "The universe gave us claws instead of peace," Hannah said. "We were born onto a dangerous world. We had to fight to survive. Against animals. Against nature. Against each other. It was horrible. It still is." She looked up at the darkening sky. "But we also made a choice. We chose to protect. Every soldier who carries a weapon is making a promise. A promise to stand between danger and those they love. A promise that the horrors of the past will not touch their children." Tears were flowing down her cheeks now. "We are not proud of our violence. But we will not apologize for defending what we love. If someone tried to hurt you, Ambassador, humans would fight to protect you. That is what weapons mean to us. They are not just instruments of death. They are instruments of love." Torrin was silent for a very long time. "Your species is terrifying," the ambassador finally said. "Yes," Hannah replied. We are, but you are also. Torin searched for the right word. Remarkable, contradictory. You contain both destruction and creation within you, both hatred and love. Hannah wiped her eyes. That is what it means to be human. We are not one thing or another. We are both. We are everything. And every day, we choose who we want to be. Torin looked at her with new understanding. You choose. Yes, every single day. Every single moment. We choose. The cherry blossoms continued to fall around them, soft and pink against the fading light. Two beings from different worlds, standing in a garden on a small blue planet, finally beginning to understand each other. The conversation between Hannah and Ambassador Torin lasted through the night. They talked about war and peace, about fear and hope, about what it meant to be alive in a dangerous universe. When the sun rose over Seoul, something had changed between their species. Torin returned to the Valari fleet with a new message. The humans were not monsters. They were something far more complex. They were a species at war with itself, fighting every day to become better than they were. They carried darkness and light within them, and somehow, against all odds, they kept choosing the light. Not all the Valari believed this. Some still wanted to leave. Some still wanted Earth quarantined forever. But Torin had been changed by that night in the garden, and the ambassador's words carried weight. If we abandon them now, Torin told the High Council, we prove that we are capable only of accepting those who are already perfect. But perfection is not possible. Growth is. And these humans are growing. Every generation, they become a little better, a little kinder, a little less violent. The debate lasted for 3 more weeks. During this time, the Valari continued to study humanity. But now, they looked with different eyes. They visited hospitals and schools. They watched parents caring for children. They saw strangers helping strangers. They attended funerals where soldiers wept for their enemies. One moment changed everything. A young Valari named Corinne was walking through the streets of Seoul when an accident happened. A vehicle lost control and crashed into a building. Fire erupted. People screamed. Corinne watched as humans rushed toward the flames. Not away from them. Toward them. Ordinary people. Store workers. Students, old men, and young women. They ran into danger without hesitation, pulling survivors from the wreckage. Some were burned. Some were injured. But they did not stop. One human, a young man named Jang Dae-yun, carried 3 children to safety. His arms were badly burned. His clothes were on fire. But he went back into the building again and again until there was no one left to save. Then he collapsed and had to be carried away by his friends. Karim reported this to the High Council. Why did he do it? One council member asked. He was not a soldier. He had no duty to risk his life. I asked him, Karim said. He told me that he could not stand by and watch children die. He said that any human would do the same. But he was burned. He was hurt. Yes, and he said he would do it again. Without hesitation. The council fell silent. This was something they had never seen before. A species that would harm itself to save others. A species whose capacity for violence was matched by an equal capacity for sacrifice. 6 months after first contact, the Valari made their final decision. They would not quarantine Earth. Instead, they would report to the Galactic Concord that humanity was ready to join the wider universe. But their report would include a warning. On the day of departure, Ambassador Torin met one last time with the human delegation. Captain Park Junho was there, along with Dr. Kim Yuna, Lieutenant Lee Taiho, Ha Minji, Commander Baek Sunwoo, Dr. Cho Nari, and Yoon Hana. They stood on the same platform where first contact had been made. watching the Valari prepare to leave. "We came here expecting to find simple creatures," Torin said. "We thought we would teach you how to be civilized. Instead, you taught us something about the universe that we never knew." "What did we teach you?" Junho asked. Torin's four eyes looked at each human in turn. "You taught us that light means nothing without darkness, that peace cannot exist without the possibility of war, that true goodness requires the choice to be evil and the decision to refuse it." The ambassador paused. "You are the most frightening species we have ever encountered, and also the most inspiring. The galaxy will never be the same now that we know you exist." Yuna stepped forward. "Will you tell others about us? About what we have done?" "Yes," Torin said. "Every species in the Concord will learn about humanity. They will learn about your wars and your weapons. They will be afraid, but they will also learn about your hospitals and your heroes. They will learn about the young man who ran into fire to save children. They will learn about the soldiers who weep for their enemies." Torin looked up at the sky. "When other species meet you, they will approach with caution, but they will also approach with respect, because they will know that you had every reason to become monsters, and you chose not to." The silver ships began to rise. 47 Valari floated toward their vessels, ready to return to the stars. But before entering the ship, Torin turned back one last time. "Ambassador," Hana called out, "what will your report say? How will you describe us?" Torin considered the question carefully. Then, the alien spoke words that would echo across the galaxy for centuries to come. They asked the humans what weapons were. The humans answered, and the galaxy learned to be afraid, but not of what humans would do. The galaxy learned to be afraid of what humans were capable of doing, and yet chose not to do. They are predators who became protectors, killers who became healers, destroyers who became creators. They are a warning and a promise, a species that carries both darkness and light, and chooses the light every single day. The ships rose higher into the sky, becoming silver dots against the blue. The human delegation watched until they disappeared completely. Junho turned to look at his companions. Soldiers and scientists, historians and diplomats, all of them carrying the weight of their species' bloody history on their shoulders. All of them trying, every day, to be better. "Do you think they understand us now?" Yuna asked quietly. Junho shook his head. "No, I don't think anyone ever will. Not completely. Not even us." But somewhere in the vast darkness of space, the Valari were carrying a story. A story about a small blue planet and the impossible creatures who lived there. A story about violence and compassion. About fear and love. About the endless human struggle to overcome the worst parts of themselves. And across the galaxy, other species were listening. They were afraid, but they were also curious, because the universe had never seen anything quite like humanity before. And perhaps, in all the ages to come, it never would again.